Welcome back to Lammon Customs. Today we're going to be looking at pulling out the steering column on the 65 Ford F100. What started all this is I actually went to replace the rag joint that was just pretty bad on here. Ordered a new one, got the new one installed, went to hook up the rest of the steering column and found out that part of the issue was the bearings are all gone. There's a couple center bearings that go on the steering shaft, so when it spins, obviously it's nice and smooth, and that one, the bottom one's completely gone. The upper one doesn't look too good either. So today we're going to work on removing the steering column from the truck so we can rebuild this. I did order parts through LMC to rebuild all this, but first, in order to do that, we got to pull this out. There's going to be a little bit of welding involved, so we'll go ahead and start pulling this out. Go from there. First thing you're going to need to do to remove the steering column is disconnect your rag joint if yours is still attached. Obviously, we don't have to worry about that on this one, but if you do, you got to unbolt that, and then you're going to start by loosening up these bolts here. These are all 1/2 inch bolts up here. There's also this lock collar one here. This is 9/16. So 1/2 inch, these three, that's 9/16. Let's go ahead and start loosening everything up here a little bit. Okay, got that nut off. Now we just got to pry this off. I know there's going to be a couple questions that are going to come up, so we're just going to address them right now. One is, why am I using a ratchet? I like using a ratchet or a wrench just because if you use power tools, whether they be pneumatic or a lot of new electric, battery powered tools and stuff, you can't necessarily feel the torque on there. I like to feel it as it's going, and that way if it's getting to the point where I'm going to snap a bolt or something, a lot of times you can feel it with a hand tool. I don't want to strip the threads, I want to just get the nut off in this case. So I like that stuff, just gives you a little bit more wiggle room there to kind of feel that. The other question I know that's going to come up is, do you have to remove this mounting plate to pull this out? I think it's going to make it a lot easier. This is kind of a half circle here, and that's why this band goes around to kind of hold it in place. It'll make it easier because we got to pull this through the firewall, and also the other reason why I'm pulling mine off is I'm going to put this in the sandblast cabinet, sandblast it, and repaint this before we reinstall it. So I want to clean everything up anyhow. I guess you can try to see if it'll pull up by looking at like where the flange is on the bottom of the steering shaft. I don't think that'll fit through there, at least not easily without removing this entire bracket. So to make things simple, we're going to remove it. So okay, next thing we need to do is remove these couple bolts that hold this this clamp that holds this part of the steering column into the bottom of the dash. So there's 2 bolts. Again, these are both 1/2 inch on here. So we're going to get those removed. As you can see already, the steering column's starting to come loose. So I like to break them both loose first before I take one all the way out. It seems like it makes it a little bit easier. There, get those out. So there's the steering column. There should be a connection up here for the wires. Stuff. We'll get that released. Getting close to pulling this all the way out here. There, she's definitely loose and ready to go. I believe we do have another bracket behind the firewall. They got this padding on the firewall here, but this stuff is pretty rough anyhow. We're going to replace it, but so we're going to have to probably pull some of that down and then get back in there. And there's another bracket that this thing slides through with the has screws that come in from the inside of the cab going out, and you can see them on the outside. If you looked at the video there, you can see it on the outside where they come in. So we'll have to get those pulled out. Get this wire that goes up here. It's buried up in here, but there is a Molex plug for this wiring that we gotta disconnect. So we gotta get that done, and then get that other bracket off, and we should be able to pull this out. Okay, this is that other bracket I was talking about inside the cab against the firewall. So we follow it down there. It goes around. There's 4 bolts that hold it in place. I already got 2 of them out. We got 2 on this side to pull out yet. I did have to pull down some of the firewall padding, like I said, the insulation, all that. We're going to replace that anyhow, obviously. This is a 3/8 inch screw. There's 4 of them that hold that on there. But yeah, it's kind of they're 3/8. They go just right into that bracket, and they actually poke out the front of the firewall there in the engine bay. So we're going to get these other 2 screws pulled out, and then we can remove the rest of the column. I did unhook the Molex plugs for the wiring. There was one wire that somebody had cut previously and wired it up. As you can see right here, they wired it up to a horn button. So obviously that's a horn wire. We're going to see if we can either fix it, or more likely if I can get a new wiring harness that goes in the steering column, we're going to do that. So we can put it back to original and get this all fixed up actually in the horn ring itself. And we can actually use it like it's supposed to be done. So. There's that bracket I was talking about right there. So we'll get that pulled off as well. We'll get that all cleaned up, repainted, and we'll do another video, do part 2, where we actually tear down the steering column itself. But we got it out. That's the first step, and we'll see you in the next video.